Those aren't mountains, they're waves. Welcome to Primary Technology, the show about the tech news that matters. We have an official iPhone event happening on September 9th. We're going to go through what to expect and some updates to iOS 26. OpenAI has several lawsuits. Nothing Phone 3 got caught using professional photos, trying to pass them off as their phone. And we're going to talk a little bit about charging in our personal tech segment. This episode is brought to you exclusively by you, the members who support us directly. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Robles, and joining me on his birthday, which I just discovered before we started recording, Jason A10. Happy birthday.
It's also known as the day your Facebook notifications blow up with messages from people that you haven't talked to.
I always thought it was funny that the time, eventually Facebook started compressing all the happy birthday messages into you have 83 happy birthday messages. And then you would have to click in to actually read each one now. And they're just
But you don't actually have to click in to read each one because literally they're just the auto reply things. It's like, wish Jason a happy birthday. And there's two choices and no one actually types you a message except for maybe your mother, but she sends it in a text message. So
do you follow Hank and John Green?
I know who they are.
So apparently it was Hank Green's birthday recently, and he made a video about the text message that his brother, it was John Green's birthday. He talked about in a video the message that Hank sent him on his birthday, which came in at 10 something PM, and all it said was happy birthday with 2 exclamation points. And so it was funny too, because he talked about how it should be more verbose than that. But then he looked at his text message to Hank on his birthday, and he sent the exact same thing. Happy birthday, 2 exclamation points. But he also said, and this is what really got me, CGP Grey remembered to text John Green on his birthday. And I was like, that's a name drop for me right there.
Yeah. But Hank and John Green, yeah.
They're pretty big.
Yeah.
They're bigger than CGP Grey.
Right.
And I guess name drop, I still don't know what CGP Grey's real name is. But anyway, happy birthday. It's fun.
Thanks
for doing this on your birthday.
Of course. We've rescheduled for a lot of things, but there's no one at my house. So there's nothing. I already opened the presents, had a cup of coffee, and got all I wanted for my birthday is for everyone to leave. Go to school.
Your family, you mean.
Go to school. Yes.
The podcast listeners can stay.
Be. Yeah, please. All of you, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, but everybody else get out of here. That's hilarious. Well, we have a exciting show because Apple sent out invites to their official event. They don't say it's the iPhone event, but it's the iPhone event, September 9th, and we're going to get all into that. But we had some other things I wanted to mention. Number one, every September, Relay.fm, the network with Mike Hurley, they do the Relay for St. Jude and Stephen Hackett, and they've been doing it for years. They've raised literally millions of dollars for St. Jude. And last year, we joined on. You can piggyback onto their St. Jude campaign. And so we have a Primary Tech and Relay for St. Jude fundraiser. And I just want to throw it out there. Last year, you guys raised over $1,000 just from Primary Tech, which is amazing. And so we have a new campaign for this year. It goes all through September. I set a goal. This is a reach goal of $5,000. So that's 5x what we did last year. But, if every listener gives at least $2, we would blow past that goal. And so I feel like that's, we can do it. I've already done my donation. You can see it down there in the live donations feed. And so I don't know who Coin Daddy is. I don't imagine that's you, Jason.
It is not me. I'm just now seeing this link. So I'm going to have to also do a donation.
Yeah, I don't know what Coin Daddy is. But anyway, I'm down there. So that's going to be the top link in the show notes for the next several weeks. We would love if you would support St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. It's for cancer research. They help cover flights and meals and basically cancer treatment for children, hopefully at no cost or very little cost to families. And so it's an amazing cause. And so we enjoy being a part of it too. So that link will be in the top of the show notes. And another fun thing, trying this thing here, I met someone at Podcast Movement last week when I was recording, and they have a service called Podgagement. But one of the features is you can send out a link where listeners and viewers of the podcast can send you a message or send us a message, either written or recorded. And there's lots of ways we could have done this. We could use Dropbox or whatever, but this system is actually pretty slick. And so I'm going to put this link in the show notes. Let us know what you are excited for or what you're hoping to see at the iPhone 17 event in a couple weeks. You can go to this link. You can record a message. You have to allow microphone access. And then you can record a little thing, send us your name. You don't have to give us your email. You can just put your name, any message, and then maybe we can play some sound bites on the next show. And so we'd love to actually literally hear from you What are you excited about for the iPhone event? That link will be in the show notes, and reach out, send us a message. I thought that'd be fun. So anyway,
It'll be great.
there's that.
I'm looking forward to Steven listening to these.
I'll play the best ones on the show. A couple 5-star review shout outs. J. David Hunter from the USA and Ralph Owens from Houston, Texas said we're his go-to tech podcast. Thank you for that. And had a couple follow-ups because we talked about deleting messages. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was last week where I asked you why you don't delete your messages.
So we had some interesting feedback, and if you didn't hear last week's episode, it was the settings in iCloud Messages. You can have your messages auto delete after a month, I believe, or you can keep them forever, or maybe it's after a year. I forget what the setting is. I keep mine on forever. And then I met some people at Podcast Movement, and we got some listener feedback. One, Justin Jackson, who is the founder or co-founder of Transistor.fm, where we host our podcast. Justin is the second from the left guy over here with the hair. That's how I'll describe him. With the hair, good hair. But he said, so he's from Canada, and he travels into the States very often for different conferences and events. And when he crosses the border, going from Canada to the United States, the security, especially around mobile devices, has changed in recent years. And he said it is not uncommon for the TSA to ask you to unlock your phone, and then they will literally take it and not like go through it, like flip around and see what's on your phone, but literally like image it. He said he has had his phone like connected with a cable, and the TSA or whatever will download the information from his phone. And sometimes if you want to fight that, you basically are stuck there in security for a long time, unless you just let them do it. So he has his messages delete every 30 days and has even considered getting a second device for travel because he's so often going between Canada and the United States. And so that was a use case I had not thought of. And so that was interesting. I'm curious. We have lots of international listeners in Europe and all over countries in the UK. I'm curious if you guys have experienced that, if you've ever flown into the U.S., gone through security, and they require you to unlock your phone, especially if it's happened recently. So reach out. Let us know. I'd be curious. You can use that same link to send us a little text-type message. But also, listener David, he sent us a screenshot, deletes all messages every day. Inbox 0 for messages. And I was like, that's a strategy. That is I wouldn't want to do that, though.
Well, and the question that I asked Steven last week was really more about the attachments to messages because of the amount of space that they take up. And this is actually interesting because if you delete your messages, it's still not clear to me what that means. Does that just mean I've removed them from my phone, or are they removed also from iCloud? Or I think if you delete an attachment from your phone, I think it still exists on iCloud, and you could, because so think about it like this. If I text you a photo right now, Steven, it appears in the messages, but I could also download that photo to my device. There's a little notification next to it.
Saves it to photos.
And then it saves it to photos.
Right.
And then if I were to just delete all of I would obviously still have it in photos, but also is it still in iCloud that I could read? Would it read? It's just not entirely clear to me what's happening with messages because email, if I delete an email's gone.
Yeah, I don't think if you delete, again, you send me a text message and then I delete our entire conversation. I don't think, or if I delete just that attachment, I don't think that there's a way to retrieve that in the message specifically. If I saved it to my Photos app, it's there and it's saved and it's in my iCloud Photos. But I think if it's deleted from the message conversation, it's gone. But
if you just delete the conversation, nothing is gone because the second I send you another text message, the whole conversation appears again.
I don't know.
Because I have the whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't think the attachments come back. I don't think photos that you sent me a year ago are going to be available there. But I don't know.
I don't know. It's a little bit nebulous for me. I'm a little bit confused about what's happening here. But
maybe we could ask Apple, or if someone from Apple is listening.
That would be a good idea, actually. What actually happens? I'm actually going to talk to Apple today. I'm going to see if I can work that question in.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Is it about maybe the biggest Apple announcement that's happened in the last week, which is Apple Invites now has widgets?
I really hope not.
That was That was a tongue-in-cheek moment. But yeah, Apple Invites, it got widgets. It's just wanted to throw that out there as a joke.
Speaking of messages, I dropped this in there because we didn't talk about it, but I just added a link to the bottom of our list. But did you see that if you now live in if you live in the UK has now dropped its requirement for Apple to give them access to encrypted iCloud? I don't know if you had a chance to see that. Yeah, the UK will no longer force Apple to provide a backdoor access, because if you remember, the UK passed this law, the Snoops law or something like that, that allows them to require tech companies that operate within the UK to provide access to data worldwide.
Right.
And Apple turned off advanced data protection in the UK and told users in the UK that if you don't do something, I don't know, turn around 3 times and spit or something, your entire iCloud was going to get deleted or something. I can't remember exactly what they told them. Right. But now they have the UK has dropped that. And the funny thing about the whole thing, we were talking about this, but it was also illegal to even say, not for us, for like Apple to even say that they've been given this notice. And so now your messages, you can encrypt them in the UK, whether you want to delete them every day or not. That's, I guess, totally up to you. And
so if you're in the UK, technically you should be able to turn on advanced data protection now.
Yeah. I was listening to, I think, Upgrade, and that ability had not yet rolled back out. Okay. But yeah, so.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Apple Invites. Actually, one other thing. We have a listener whose spouse works for PopSocket. Okay. And I just want to say they sent me a little like package here, and I just want to shout out because I didn't realize PopSockets like went super hard with like Star Wars stuff. Oh. And not just that, but this is a MagSafe battery with a pop socket, a Death Star pop socket. Look at that, Death Star pop socket. They have MagSafe wallets now with a pop socket. This is not sponsored. I thought this was cool, and you can even get like a Darth Vader head as a
pop socket. Wow.
Although,
are you a pop socket person?
No, but my wife is. She's all about the pop sockets. So anyway, I thought that was cool. So thank you to who sent that. And yeah, pop sockets go hard with Star Wars stuff. Just throwing that out there. You might also want to get a pop socket for your new iPhone 17, which comes out announces in 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks away, a little less than 2 weeks from the Apple event. They announced it, sent invites out to some people. I didn't get an in-person invite. And I don't know if you're coming.
Yeah, they don't send a lot of in-person invites out for the iPhone event, because it's in the Steve Jobs Theater. It's limited capacity. Yeah. Right.
The inside baseball is WWDC. It's held outside. They can invite way more people. It's just a quote unquote easier invite to get. Like just more people are invited to WWDC as opposed to the iPhone event.
Also, though, the scale of importance to Apple of the things that get announced at WWDC is 0 compared to the iPhone event. Like they could literally not do WWDC, not release new software, and we would care a lot, but the general public would care 0. Right. But if they didn't release an iPhone, like the iPhone is the single most important consumer tech product in the world. Like,
Jason, are you telling me that Apple's iPhone release is more important than the Shortcuts update?
Steven, I'm telling you that Apple's iPhone update is more important than the birth of your first child.
I see.
It is a monument. No, and so most of the people who are invited to the iPhone, I've been to a couple iPhone events, but most of the people who get invited to them at this point are the like highest profile journalists, right? So you'll see the Verge there and Engadget and all of them and that kind of stuff. The high profile like MKBHD, iJustine level YouTubers, and then a lot of international press, like a lot of international press, and then like people I don't have a clue who they are, but they're famous on TikTok.
So that last part. So I'm very happy for a number of people. There are YouTubers in like the 200,000 to 300,000 subscriber range. NBT Jacqueline, Byte Review. Tom at Byte Review got his first invite to an iPhone event ever, so happy for him. He's a YouTuber mainly, but I did see a lot of TikTokers specifically that I also follow on Instagram get an invite to the iPhone event. And I do wonder, before we get into like what to expect and the devices or whatever, as Apple is looking for market share and reaching new audiences, I feel like it probably makes sense that they want the TikTok audience paying attention. And those would be the people to invite if you want to reach like people that are teenagers or young 20s, even if they're not the ones making the buying decisions, just to like take up the mind space of younger people and be on the news. I don't know. Does that, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
That's
but I think there's another piece of it that makes a lot of sense. And during our pre-show, we mentioned there was the recent episode of the talk show. Friend of the show, John Gruber,
right.
had Matt Panzarino, who was the former editor-in-chief of TechCrunch. They were talking about this very thing, and I think they made a good point, which is people who developed a massive audience on TikTok, but have never had any experience working in like a journalism job, have a very different like mindset when they attend these things. Right. And like the idea for them is it just gives them credibility with their audience that they're even there. They're not necessarily there to review the products. Apple's not reaching out to these people to like give a review of a product. It's just creating buzz. And those individuals are often, and I don't mean this to be, because I'm not on TikTok. So this is not directed at any individuals. Like, I don't even know who they are. So I'm not, and I don't mean that to be rude. I just, whatever.
You're not
TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. It's my birthday. I've given up TikTok for my birthday. But anyway, like they tend to be a more favorable audience and they're spreading that message. They're not going to try to see how hard they can bend the phone. They're not going to point out all the flaws of liquid glass. They're not like, their whole thing is like, look at me, I'm at the iPhone event and here's a bunch of iPhones and over there's Tim Cook and let me go get a selfie kind of a thing, as opposed to, did anybody notice that the iPhone 17 Air like scratches super easy? Like, do you know? I don't know.
They're not looking for that.
Yeah.
And I think so. Last week I didn't get to watch the Made by Google event before talking about it. I've just read articles. And so I've now, since last week's episode, seen clips of Jimmy Fallon and
the Fallon debacle.
I wish I don't want to discuss it at length here, but I wish I had watched it last week so we could talk about it, because it did feel super weird. And like seeing him hold a Pixel Fold upside down excitedly was kind of hilarious. Like, clearly,
but in his defense, the screen would have rotated.
It would have rotated.
So he would not have known.
I know, but it's also like, I mean, Jimmy Fallon is not a tech person. And it's clear, and Gruber and Panzarino talk about this, like Google has really leaned more into the celebrity sales factor of their devices. And Andrew Edwards, the YouTube creator who was at the Made by Google event, said that Google had an applause sign that they would light up. And it's like, first of all, if Apple ever did that, I would be like, all right, guys, we've crossed the Rubicon here. It's too far. But also, like you're saying, the people who are, I'll say, traditional journalists who are working for, even I will put the Verge in that category, but also like the New York Times, like Joanna Stern at the Wall Street Journal, likely going to be at the iPhone event. They are there as journalists to see like, what is the story, not what is the hype. And that is not a shade to any TikTok or Instagram creator, because while they are great at communicating the hype and the excitement, many of them also do great work after the fact, doing videos about details and tips and how-tos and things like that. But they are not held responsible by like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, or the Verge to then give it a rating and review later. You know what I mean? Like the Verge is going to put a number on the iPhone 17 Air. It's going to have a pros and cons list. And that's just not something you would expect and even maybe want to see from your favorite TikTok creator. You just want to see, what are the device and is it exciting? So I get like, I personally don't fit into either category. And even as I was listening, I don't know, I thought about texting him, but I was like, I'm curious how people like Gruber or Panzarino or, traditional journalists would view my content specifically, because I don't think of myself as an influencer, but I also understand I'm not a journalist. And I don't know like where on the spectrum I would land, honestly. And so, you know what I mean? And you write for Inc.com, which I would be curious how you would think of yourself, but I would put you more in the journalist category than obviously influencer. I mean, would you?
I have no influence. I'm not an influencer.
Sure. Right. And there's also this weird dichotomy of like, I don't know if anyone whose writing is the primary medium for their communication would be put in the influencer category. Like, I don't know of any writer influencers. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that I would say an influencer, that is a person who is able to, quote, influence an audience simply because of who they are, not because of the substance of what they create. That doesn't mean that they don't create things of substance, but it just means that their audience is based entirely on that. Whereas someone like Joanna Stern influences a whole lot of people's buying decisions, but it is, and she's very, very good at what she does, but it is because of the platform which is the Wall Street Journal. Right now, Joanna Stern could go somewhere else. She could even go out on her own, and then maybe she would be more of an influencer because of her own personality or whatever. But I think there is a difference. I think for like I've said this many times. There are a lot of people who read my articles and recognize my byline, but would have literally no idea. Like I remember, I've told this story before, maybe not on the podcast, but there was a time when I was sitting down to interview a CEO of a very, like a company you would recognize, not a tech company, but a company you'd recognize. And they were wearing their Apple Watch, and they were wearing it with the crown pointed on the inside. And I've written it a couple times, but one of the still most read articles I've ever written is you're wearing your Apple Watch upside down. I mean, you should be wearing your Apple Watch upside down, because not on the Apple Watch Ultra, it's weird, you can't do it. But on the other Apple Watch, the series Apple Watches, I always did that because I found that I was always activating the voice assistant or changing the volume with this. So I wrote this article. I noticed that this CEO was wearing his watch that way. I was like, oh, look, I do that too. He's like, yeah, I read this article one time and it was talking about how you should do it. So I tried it. I was like, oh yeah, I wrote that article. He's like, no, I don't think so. And he literally had it saved because apparently he had shared it with some people.
Wow.
And I was like, oh yeah, you did write that. But like the point was, we could have had the entire, you would have never known that, no idea. Right? And so like that, I'm definitely not an influencer. I also am not I'm a columnist, so I'm not just reporting things. I have to have a take and an angle. So in that sense, the things that I'm going to cover and write about are different than just Apple introduces for phones, here's the specs, right? It's more like, here's how they did it, or here's why it matters. Or I usually try to just pick, like, I remember one year when the Ultra came out, I'm pretty sure I wrote an entire article just about the orange button, because it's like you now have an action button on your watch, which is amazing. So yeah.
I will also say, because I met a lot when I was at WWDC, I've met some of the TikTokers that I personally follow and really admire their work. They're awesome people, and they are tech minded. At least the ones that I met that were there. And I think that you can make both kinds of content. Like so I have the iPhone 16e here. It's been the one iPhone review unit. Hopefully I get more iPhone review units in a couple weeks. But like when I went to pick this up, I did a little video about, oh shoot, the USB-C port inside iPhones are color matched to the phone. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Okay, well, I didn't know that. So I made a little video about that. That felt very much like an influencer piece of content. Like that was not maybe a journalist piece of content. But just the other day, I was testing a new charger, which we'll get to in the personal tech segment, and I was like testing how fast it charged my 16 Pro Max. I tested how fast it charged an iPhone 14. I tested with cooling on and cooling off. And in that moment, I felt I was more in the journalist category, because I'm testing, I'm researching, and I'm going to provide my findings to viewers on YouTube. And so I do feel like no category should be all encompassing. I think people can do different kinds of content, and it seems like the people like who are invited to the iPhone event, at least the ones I saw, many of them, like you're saying, are in those two categories: the top journalists in their field for major publications and TikTok influencers who are great at that in the moment content. And I'm 100% sure that's what Apple wants. Apple wants a bunch of people posting the iPhone 17 Air in all the different colors in excited ways in that big hands-on area, and just flood social media on the day of the event. And that's why they invite who they invite.
Yeah, and I think, though, what you do in general and what a lot of YouTube creators do are almost more like I always think of what I do as actually closer to like blogging, because I'm an opinion writer. Like I have an opinion about a thing that's interesting to me, and so I write something about it. And I have to keep in mind a specific type of audience, but in that way it's more similar to, for example, what Gruber does at Daring Fireball, except for he can post like 4 words. I'm not allowed to just post 4 words. I have to write an actual article about stuff. So I'm super jealous sometimes that he can just post a link in a couple of words.
He says, this is great.
I have to have an actual article about it. But anyway, and so what you do is more similar to that. You have an opinion. You're more like a columnist whose platform is video, right? And I think that a lot of YouTubers are like that. When I think of an influencer, what I think about is like the whole point of inviting influencers, purely influencers, and I'm not thinking of anyone in particular, is their video content is going to be, hey, look at me, I'm at the iPhone event. Look at how cool it is. And look how cool I am. Not, let's dig into the orange button on the watch. So
Right. And none of them are running a shortcut. I'll just say that.
Right.
But that's great because that's my job after the fact.
Yes.
I'm going to do all the shortcuts.
Leave some space for Steven.
That's it. Just leave me some shortcuts. That's all. And some charging stuff. All right. What can we expect? So the event on September 9th, the iPhone 17 lineup, pretty much it's a sure thing. From all the models and cases, it really looks like the iPhone 17, the 17 Plus will go away and make way for the 17 Air, a new body style that's ultra thin, and then the 17 Pro and Pro Max. I feel pretty confident in the body style that we've seen from the models, which I really don't know how I feel about. And to remind everyone, I do even have like the supposed case of the iPhone 17 Pro with that big old camera bar. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, Jason. I feel like
I feel terrible about it. It makes me sick to my stomach. And then I think about it logically and I realize that honestly, like this case looks weird just by itself.
Sure.
But then you put it on the phone and it makes sense. I think the phone will look weird by itself. I think the case will look weird by itself. I think that if you put the two together, it'll be fine.
It's like chocolate and peanut butter. Who would have thought?
It's definitely not chocolate and peanut butter. It is way worse than that. But
well,
it's like sodium and chlorine. They're both toxic, but you combine them and it's table salt.
Ah, okay. Well, that's good. That's a little chemistry. This is another look at it. It just looks like there's so much like open space. You know what I mean? There's like a no man's land between the camera lenses and the flash and LiDAR sensor.
Okay. We're looking at a photo if you're not watching this on YouTube, and this is on 9to5 Mac, and it's showing like a rendering, I guess, of the phone purportedly will look like.
This is the chapter.
So this doesn't actually make sense to me. This only makes sense to me if they somehow move, because isn't it like spatial video? Like it only makes sense or spatial photos and video, like if they move two of the cameras farther apart so they can get a better spatial recording and stuff. Like it does. I don't understand why, if all they're doing is moving the flash in the microphone and the LiDAR sensor over there, what are we gaining other than the Minion case?
The Minion case. It does look like the flash and LiDAR sensor are literally running away from the lenses.
Yeah.
That's the visceral reaction.
But I don't know what we gained. Like what more do we get from moving them over there? I think the answer is nothing.
Wouldn't it be wild if all of these renders and models were tricking everybody and Apple puts the 3 lenses just in a row? It's just tic-tac-toe right in a row.
That would make some people mad.
I don't know how I would feel about that. Or anyway, well, we're going to see. We're going to see in 2 weeks. But the rumors supposedly, and we don't talk about rumors a lot, but we're pretty close to the event. And so if you want to know what to expect, the camera bar redesign is going to be a big change. Aluminum might replace titanium as the metal of choice, which also means new colors, including an orange, dark blue, black, and silver. What color would you go for if those are the colors? I might go silver this year also. I'm not going to do an orange phone.
I mean, I did the titanium last time because I want the most neutral phone that there is.
I don't regret doing the desert titanium, but I kind of wish I had at least. I never did the natural titanium because I did the dark blue for the 15 Pro Max, and then I did the desert for the 16 Pro Max. I never got a natural. But anyway.
So do you think, I'm hopeful that because the one drawback to the Pro phone is it is heavy.
Right.
And you don't realize how heavy it is until you pick up just like a iPhone 16 and you're like, I just want to use this.
It is nice. I mean, the aluminum should be lighter. The titanium was lighter than the stainless steel before it, but aluminum should be even lighter.
I feel like they artificially inflate the weight of the Pro phone so that it feels more. No, I'm serious. I think they wanted. So I'm wondering how much of a difference there will be, but there should be zero difference, except for there's one more camera.
There should be. And it depends on what the rails are made out of, because the well,
That's
no, we'll see.
aluminum. That's the part that's aluminum.
Yeah, that is true because it's just glass in it. But yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. But also the A19 Pro chip should make its debut with the 17 Pro phones. 12 gigs of RAM from the 8 gig that's been available the past 2 years. Again, with LLMs and Apple Intelligence, hope be easier to run on device. You have more RAM for that. Also, some improved cooling system, like a vapor chamber, which I'm curious. Okay, like for gaming and stuff like that. Some camera improvements, which happens every year. And yeah, we'll see. Changing the scratch resistance of the display. Oh, and the other big rumor was reverse wireless charging. This has been a rumor for years. Maybe this year you can actually put your AirPods on the back of your iPhone and charge them. Some rumors said Apple Watch, which doesn't make sense to me because you need to have a curved puck in order to charge the Apple Watch. But yeah.
That's why the camera bump is going to be shaped like that, because they're actually building an Apple Watch charger into the camera bump.
Brilliant. That's it. Nailed it. Also, and I'm curious what you think, we're definitely going to see a new Apple Watch, of course. We'll finally see a new Apple Watch Ultra, because we've had the Apple Watch Ultra 2 model basically for 2 years now, because they just added the color last year. So Apple Watch Ultra, Apple Watch Series 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're on Series? Yeah, Series 11. AirPods Pro 3, good chance we'll see an updated those. We might have some health features that are upgraded into the AirPods Pro 3, and a couple wild cards. I'm curious your over-under about the wild card devices. Maybe an updated HomePod Mini. I don't know what they would update, but some update. Maybe just a chip. And new Apple TV 4K. Those are the wild card rumors. What do you think?
Well, okay. I don't think we need either of those things, but I do think Apple has to update them, because otherwise people just make fun of them for the products being 7 years old or whatever. Because like the HomePod Mini, I can't remember when it came out, but the only thing that's been
came
revised,
out 18 years ago.
The only thing that's been revised is they made some new colors for it, right? Like they changed, and they didn't even really. It's just like they did a blue-ish, a midnight blue or something. I can't remember what they called it. So they have to eventually do something to it, but that is not really a product that needs much of an update unless it's going to get more processing power for future potential things. But again, I don't think you should be talking. Did it just like get dark in here real quick?
It just flashlighting.
I raised my arms and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa.
You're summoning the
Hold
lightning.
on. I felt like Moses for a second there. I don't even know what happened. But I don't think anyone should be summoning the voice assistant on their HomePods. That's like a rule that if you don't learn anything else from primary technology, it's that the only place you should talk to it is on your watch, which can't actually process anything. So maybe that, so that would be nice if that was the case. But the same thing with the Apple TV. Like no one needs more power from the Apple. Like no one has ever, I have a 7-year-old Apple TV in our house. It's fine.
Well, what's interesting, though, is there are some Apple tvOS 26 features that are only available on the latest model, which is the Apple TV 4K 3rd generation, namely the karaoke feature, which I did a video about the TV features. And the karaoke feature is now like Apple Music. You can pull it up, and then you can literally connect iPhones by scanning a QR code on screen and use the iPhone microphone as a karaoke mic. And you and whoever else's voices will come through the TV, and then other people can connect and like send emojis that show up on the TV screen. So like full on karaoke setup now, iPhone and Apple TV. And that feature is only available on the latest one. Is that some kind of processor gate require? I mean, I imagine that could probably run on the generation older Apple TV, but maybe a new Apple TV 4K with more headroom allows for more features like that. Maybe they do more in gaming. I don't know.
But if you think about it, the only reason to upgrade the only reason for Apple to improve the Apple TV is to get people to upgrade who already have an Apple TV, but no one needs to do that. Like seriously, Steven, I was somewhere that had a Google TV, like a Hitachi but it had AirPlay, right? And so I was trying to stream a video to it to share it with a room full of people, and it did okay, except for that the audio and the video were like 2 seconds out of sync, streaming it via AirPlay. I figured out that if I Chromecast it was fine. So there's something weird going on there. But I will tell you, I have a 10-year-old Apple TV, and it does it perfectly every time. So it's like these things are more than powerful enough. So no one needs to upgrade their Apple TV unless you don't have a 4K one. That's the only legitimate reason to do it. Yeah. But there's a lot of people with the 4K ones. And then the other thing is like new people right now are not buying. I don't think there's a lot of people buying Apple TVs as their streaming box, because literally every television has streaming stuff built into it, which you should turn off, by the way, and just use an Apple TV. But like Roku will give you a box for free. Amazon will give you a Fire Stick for free. Like they will just throw them at you if you order toilet paper from Amazon.com. Like,
well, let me ask you this: if, because it is your birthday, if they release a new Apple TV where the remote has precision Find My and you can make a sound, make it beep through the Find My app, would you upgrade for that?
I'd buy 6 of them, Steven.
See, exactly. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the upgrade.
But also maybe I could just buy the remotes, please.
Right, which that would be, we asked a couple weeks ago who just buys Apple TV remotes. That would be a reason.
The single best thing, so the most recent Apple TV remote is by far the best Apple TV remote. But
Yes.
the thing that's the best, besides the fact that, it actually has
USB-C.
buttons and stuff,
Yeah.
that's fine. The Lightning one is fine. I don't care about that. We still have some Lightning phones in our house, so we still have to keep cables around. But what I've noticed is the new remote is just thick enough, more thick than the previous versions, that it gets lost way less often.
Sure. That is true. And I have the big old silicone case with an AirTag in it, and that gets lost even less.
Yeah.
Which might be overkill. I'm going to link Mac Rumor's buyer's guide also in the show notes, because this is the place to go to see how old an Apple device is. And so looking at the music section, AirPods Pro, the last model was released 716 days ago, September 2023. That were the AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C charging, which was a slight refresh over the AirPods Pro 2. The big HomePod, 953 days ago. No rumor that that's going to get updated. The HomePod Mini, 1,780 days ago. October 2020 was when it was released. 5 years old. So, yeah, I think maybe a new one with at least a refreshed processor.
I am looking forward, though, to adding to my AirPods Pro collection. I have one of every version here. I have the originals.
Yes.
So the funny thing is, the only way you can tell the difference is how many speaker holes are on the bottom. That's how you can tell the difference between those. And then they had to add a lanyard thing for the ones with USB-C. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the AirPods Pro 2 is still the only ones that have like the MagSafe charging, where it'll actually snap in place if you put it on a MagSafe puck, which is nice. And precision Find My. This is the AirPods Pro 2, the only precision Find My ones.
And the something with your Vision Pro that you don't use,
I use it when I
remember
travel
what it is. But what is the feature? It's
lossless audio, right?
Lossless audio. There you go.
It's lossless, which I mean,
why did adding the USB-C port instead of Lightning result in lossless audio?
well, it's a faster port.
But you're not plugging.
I know. I was just saying.
Yes, but I don't think that's it.
I don't know. So listen, we're gonna cover the iPhone event. We haven't talked about it yet. Maybe we can do an episode that day. We could talk about it offline.
We'll have to talk about it offline.
We'll talk about it offline, but we'll be covering it. I'll be making a video about all the things that are announced, so stay tuned. You can watch the event also live on Apple's website and on YouTube. That event's already up, so coming soon. It's iPhone season, tech season, and but we've got some other little tidbits of news before I get to iOS 26 on my main iPhone. Nothing, the phone company, was caught using professional photos and passing them off as nothing phone photos. The Verge confirmed this from several photographers who were like, actually, I took that picture with a Fujifilm something. And they looked at the EXIF data of the photos. Nothing claims that, those photos were just placeholders and they intended to switch the photos out with actual phone 3 photos, but not a great look for nothing.
Also,
Not great.
maybe that's entirely true. But once you hit publish, I mean, something's wrong. Either you intended to pull off, passing off professional photos as being taken with your camera, or you just didn't have the process in place to make. Someone should have been like, hey guys, I think for sure we should change these photos. But here's the thing. Why did you license photos from a stock agency as placeholders?
Right.
That makes no sense. You wouldn't pay money for, you literally would go to Google Images and just take a bunch of screenshots and put them in there.
Unsplash.
Also, by the way, the reason that you use crap for that kind of thing is so that it's very obvious later that you need to replace them. When I come up with a headline and I don't know for sure what it is, I use TK, so that I know that when I go back later, I'm like, I probably should put words there instead of publishing this article with no headline.
Yeah, so that's not a great look.
Yeah, bad.
Not a great look. But speaking of Android phones and photos, I have a Pixel 10 Pro coming tomorrow.
Okay. Did you
I'm
buy it?
excited to try it because I want to try the camera, the 100x zoom, but also I'm going to make a video where I just attach every MagSafe accessory I have to it.
That's going to be good. I'm here for that, Steven.
I thought that would be a fun experiment because, yeah, it's got MagSafe now. So I'm going to try that. OpenAI is facing many lawsuits. It has faced lawsuits in the past, like from the New York Times, which is still ongoing. But there was an unfortunate situation where a teenager unalived themselves. I say it that way just because sometimes YouTube will censor that word. But using ChatGPT, he supposedly communicated with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT might have even offered ways to accomplish this. And also the change in GPT-5 that became less sycophantic might have also contributed to this teenager's tragedy. And so the family is suing OpenAI, and OpenAI has said they are likely going to be implementing parental controls for ChatGPT and being more aware of situations like this. This is a really unfortunate story, but also I think just with the pervasive use of ChatGPT, I mean, this is not as an excuse, but stuff like this will happen. And you know, we've talked a lot about, is ChatGPT like a mainstream product, and you know how many people are using it. I don't know about you, Jason, but I see more and more. I'm on TikTok and you're not, but I see a lot of people on TikTok and random people just saying like they're just using ChatGPT like in day-to-day life and asking it like random things whenever. So, yeah, that's the thing. Parental controls.
Well, yeah, it's tough because I do feel like the more you try to moderate something like this, I'll use that phrase, moderate, like control outputs. That's tough, right? But I do think there are probably some things that for sure it should be very clear that like we should be like a red flag should have gone off somewhere, because
Right.
clearly the language, the LLMs are just not capable. Like it's sort of like if you could read a lot of books about medicine, and you could spend a lot of time on WebMD, and you could even talk to ChatGPT about your symptoms like I did and all this,
Right.
but you're not a doctor. There's like
Right.
nuance to this kind of thing. And once people start using you in that way, and you're just convincing enough that it feels like you are, or the conversation is just personal enough, that's very dangerous because you aren't designed for that. And so I think that there are a couple of things where we should be like, there should be some safeguards built into the system in those cases, because you need to have and I just don't think anybody, this is like the reason that in Apple, or the reason that Apple is not great at certain things is because everybody there lives in California where it's gorgeous weather all the time, right? The reason Teslas don't handle very well in the snow is because they're all in
Texas.
California. Well, and in Texas now,
Yeah.
right? It's like, we never even thought about the fact that most of the country that might use these products don't live here. I think the same thing is true with ChatGPT. Like, no one who's building it has encountered these types of things, and I think it is incumbent on them. I don't know if they should be liable in a lawsuit. I don't know. That's real complicated. I'm glad I don't have to be the person to figure that out. But I think that there is a responsibility.
Yes. So that is an unfortunate situation. The other lawsuit is much more silly. This is, we talked about it last week, but Elon Musk saying he was going to sue OpenAI and Apple for the placement of AI apps in the App Store. And now it's an official lawsuit. He has, I think, filed a lawsuit on Monday, so earlier this week, both against Apple and OpenAI about deprioritizing rival chatbots. You know, the lawsuit is silly because to say the App Store is required to feature all the AI apps, I mean, it was an editorial section of the App Store, so it's like it's
They
Apple's
can literally
choice
do anything they want.
They literally do anything they want. And the argument about what is the top app in the App Store, you know, Elon Musk doesn't have any data to say whether or not Grok is more popular than ChatGPT. But again, anecdotally, I think it makes sense ChatGPT is one of the top apps. And DeepSeek made it to number one. Apparently, Grok had made it to number one in months past. So clearly, Apple is not restricting Grok from being number one in the App Store. But the only curious thing about it is obviously Apple has chosen OpenAI to have a direct integration with the iPhone. Namely, you can, like ChatGPT has its own settings pane in the Apple Intelligence settings where you can sign into your OpenAI account, or even if you don't have an account, you can use ChatGPT for free through Apple Intelligence. I mean, that is a partnership. I don't know, like, the legal implications of if they should be allowed to then, like, if they have to allow other AIs like Perplexity or Claude or Grok to have that same access. But I do wonder, like, thinking about the EU and the Digital Markets Act and the non-compete kind of stuff there, is that something that these companies could pursue Apple and say, you can't have this special relationship with OpenAI and not offer that direct integration with, like, Perplexity and Anthropic?
I don't think it. Again, not
Not
a lawyer, but I think the issue would be if, like, Apple, it does not. No one can compel Apple to do business with anybody that it doesn't want to do business with, and it would be different if Apple. So, like, for example, take Google. Google couldn't buy OpenAI because Google already has a service in that, and they would be eliminating competition, right? But Apple is free to deal with whoever they want to. Now, I don't think Apple could exclude other, like, ChatGPT. If they allow ChatGPT in the App Store, I don't think they could be like, Grok can't be in the App Store just because we want to favor ChatGPT.
Right.
But I don't think, like, they have no duty to deal with anybody.
Right, and the direct integration, I mean, these kinds of deals have been going on since, like, Google Maps was the default Maps app and YouTube was pre-installed on iPhone, but
right.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't think that'll go anywhere, but, doing things. All right. I installed iOS 26 Beta 8 on my main iPhone, for better or for worse. I got back from my trip and I'm like, I'm not traveling between here and the official release of iOS 26. Let's do it. And so I have it on my phone. I have liquid glass everywhere. I will say, using it on your main device, it is, a different experience than just testing it on, like, a side piece, on a side device. And, for the most part, if you just use your phone like normal, the few places that you see liquid glass, the control center, I think, is still debatable. Like, is this good visual language or not? I don't know. There are the options to reduce transparency and accessibility. So you can, like, turn off that transparency. So if you go to accessibility, display, and you do reduce transparency, now, like, if you swipe down a control center, there's just nothing behind the control center stuff. So if you prefer that and you don't like the glass effect, I mean, you can just turn it off. It's been fine for me. I'm not bothered by it. I think there are a couple features that I really like. I feel like the messages experience is fun, like with wallpapers and stuff. Been changing that. The Safari change took me a second to get used to. I don't know if you've used Safari a lot in the on iOS 26, but they changed the tab bar, so you now have, like, multiple options for the thing at the bottom, basically. And I'm curious how you use Safari. The default in iOS 26, this is like the minimal tab bar, and you have the search on the bottom, you have the back button, and now you have the 3-dot menu, which under that 3-dot menu, then you have things like show me all my tabs, new tab, private tab, and bookmarks. And I had the muscle memory of whenever I wanted to, like, close tabs or see all my tabs, just to quickly tap that bottom right icon, which is the show all tabs button. And I was like, I don't like that I can't quickly access that. It's now 2 taps away where it was previously 1. But then I discovered you can change it to the larger bottom tab bar like this, and now you can have just 1 tap away the show all tabs button, which is right there. So that's what I did for Safari. I like that now. The search bar in all apps is now on the bottom, which I think is good. Like, having to reach at the top or, like, reveal the search bar because it was hidden before. I think it's more discoverable in the way it is in iOS 26. Like in settings, previously, it's too bright. Previously, if someone didn't realize you can search in settings, you had to swipe down to reveal the search bar up at the top, and most people probably didn't know you could do that. Now the search bar is just persistent at the bottom. And so even users who didn't know search was even in settings, now it's more discoverable. So overall, I'm liking it. It's not been buggy. Battery life has been fine. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I think
Yes. You then.
think about this every time I unlock the iPhone 16 or my iPad. I think that liquid glass is going to get old for people.
Get old.
I don't like even the type in your passcode screen anymore. I
It does
think
look
it's like a
different.
novelty that eventually you're like, okay, this was cool for a while. Can we just go back to the way it was? I just, because I've been using it on this iPhone every day for a while. I've been using it on my main iPad, which is where I really notice it. And I actually like most of the things about iPad OS 26,
Yeah.
except the liquid glass part. It's like, give me the other stuff, turn off the extra liquid glass pieces. Even the stuff you described about like the placement of things, all of that is fine, but none of it had to be the glass. Like none of what you described about where search bars are, how tabs are. I don't love the Safari. I can't look at it right now because I'm using that phone as a camera. So, but I don't love the fact that there's extra taps to get to certain things that used to just be there. But I actually think that the visual of liquid glass, I think it's gonna grate on people after a while.
Really?
You don't think so?
I don't know. I will say, if you want to make your phone look like this is clearly iOS 26, it's to make all the icons clear, which, on the home screen, I could go either way.
But this screen is so much better on the current version than it is on the new version.
See, I do an alphanumeric passcode, so I can't show that screen quickly. The one thing about if you make your icons gray is the settings app looks really meh. Like all the icons in the settings app
that's terrible.
turn gray.
You can't do that.
Terrible.
Why though? Why is that screen like that? Just because you make actually, that's got to be a bug that they have to fix. There's no reason for those icons to be gray just because you're on your home screen. You wanted your icons to be whatever.
Well, and also, and this was the thing I discovered only when I put it on my main device. If you gray out the icons or make them glass on the home page, it also applies to the share sheet.
Yeah, it applies universally. And it's like, wait, I didn't say every icon everywhere. I want my monochrome phone with no color for anything. That's not what I said. I just said make those transparent on the home screen.
And honestly, the monochrome in the share sheet, I don't think is good because, I use the share sheet often and visually I might just see an app by its colors and icon, and I know that's where I want to share it. And this just visually takes now a few more seconds to say like, oh, what is that? And also, I didn't realize whatever quick actions you had at the top of this list, which I have mostly shortcuts, those become large icons now. And you can now move icons from down here to the big ones in the top 4. And it took a little bit to get used to. That might just be...
But that's fine. All of that stuff is fine. It's the fact that someone at Apple knows, I promise you, someone at Apple knows that color is one of the single most important aspects of an icon.
Yeah.
Maybe the most important aspect of an icon. And the way you could prove that is you could take YouTube's red and you could just put it on some other random icon and be like, use the font that YouTube uses and be like, that's super got to be the YouTube app, right?
Right.
I don't understand why it looks different, but that's definitely the YouTube app. Like same thing with Facebook, same thing with Instagram. Like those colors, doesn't matter if in the way you know that that's true is you can use the larger icons and get rid of the words and you still know exactly what the stuff is.
You still know exactly where it is. Yeah, I did the clear icons for like 5 hours. And then I was like, no, I can't. I'm not going to do this.
I'm going to write an article saying updating your phone to this. Don't do this part.
Are you going to wrate that article?
I think I am. I got to write it down because I won't remember.
Yeah, you should write it down. I think that would be good but just showing like all the places it changes. It's, I don't know, settings, the share sheet. It's not great as monochrome. But anyway, I'm going to keep using it. I'm putting together some thoughts for an actual iOS 26 review, which I've not really done before, just actually reviewing the change. So we'll do that. But one other last quick feature before we get to personal tech.
Can't wait.
iOS 26, they introduced the Wallet app is going to get a new settings toggle where you can disable promo notifications. So that F1 movie ticket promo and other promos you might have come through the Wallet app, you'll be able to disable those completely. It's on by default, but in iOS 26, you'll be able to turn those off and you won't get any F1 ticket notifications or future Apple TV Plus original content notifications through the Wallet app.
You just reminded me. I need to turn off notification for the App Store because I get stupid like new game in arcade. I didn't. Here's the thing. I probably never thought to turn off App Store notifications because what would the App Store send me? Turns out they'll send you every time there's a new arcade game released or there's whatever.
Yeah.
So I solved that problem right now.
There you go. All right. Personal tech. Let's talk about charging because you have
this is our favorite.
You have I can show that picture you sent me last week, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let me pull that up. But I got the Belkin Ultra Charge Pro, which is a new 3-in-1 that features Qi 2.2, which is officially named Qi 225 watts. And it is offering 25-watt wireless charging to the iPhone. And we'd love if you go watch the video. I'll put it in the show notes. It does charge fast if, here's the big caveat, you have to have cooling enabled. So all these Qi 2 25-watt chargers, and I talk about it in the video, all of them have some kind of cooling feature, which I thought was interesting. Like wireless chargers have had that in the past, but all the 3-in-1s from people like Belkin and Anker usually didn't have some kind of cooling feature. But this one they do. That's like the actual cooling switch that I'm showing in the video there. And if you don't have that cooling on, you do not experience the faster charging speeds. Mostly because the phone is going to get hot and the phone is going to slow charging down because it dictates how fast it accepts that wireless charge, not the 3-in-1. So with cooling on, you can get a faster charge. With cooling off, I do not find it provides much faster charging. That also means that cooling, there's a fan in this charger.
Yeah,
it is not silent.
That's no bueno.
Like if you see the back of this thing, it looks discreet. Like, you don't see the fan very much, but when it's like when your phone is low, like 1 or 2%, and you put it on this charger with cooling enabled, that fan kicks on and it is fanning. It is audible. And it also makes, I try to capture this in the video, but it makes this like high pitched whir kind of sound. Not something I want to hear on my nightstand, not something I want on my desk if I'm trying to record a video. So I am a little skeptical about the future of the faster charging on iPhone. Supposedly you need to run iOS 26 to enable the faster charging. Supposedly the iPhone 17 Pro will have this. Maybe that vapor cooling chamber will also help the charging aspects. Who knows? I did get Ugreen has a 25-watt Qi 2 MagSafe battery pack. So I got that. It's actually coming today. I'm going to test it. The problem is if cooling is really necessary for faster charging, then that MagSafe battery is not going to really perform that much better either. So I am not as excited for the faster charging. I mean, I'm glad it's here and the standard is now here, but I don't know. I don't want to have to run a fan to do it. And my 12 South Hi-Res 3 Deluxe is probably just going to stay on my nightstand because it's great. And it's on sale now. You can get it for like $70, $80.
I don't know what I have on my nightstand. It's whatever you sent me. And it's fine. It's fine. I'm not changing it.
Well, that's the thing. On a nightstand, you're charging overnight, and so charging speed doesn't matter.
Yeah. The only thing I need from a nightstand charger is that I can just put the phone in standby mode. Like it's my clock.
That's the thing. Nightstand mode. Okay, now you also have some charging paraphernalia. This thing is a beast.
Look at that. It's charging 164.6 watts, but that's because I had a MacBook Pro probably plugged in an iPad. And it was okay. This is from EcoFlow, which is a company I had not previously heard of, but they're like a competitor to Anker, right? And they make batteries and chargers. First, I will say, we'll talk about that in a second. In my mind, so far, best 140 watt USB-C charger brick thing I've ever encountered. It has 3 USB-C. I could not care less about the USB-A. It does even tell you right on here what they will what speeds each port will charge at. I don't know. Can you see? There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
So you'll know exactly what they can charge at.
That's nice.
So it's 140 watts. And this thing is like, my favorite charger before that was this one from Anker, right?
Yes.
Which was only 100 watts, only had 2 USB-C ports. But like, this thing is like, it's pretty small, like
pretty compact.
Yeah, and I'm real happy with this because I had a Nomad 135 watt charger, maybe it was, and that thing is like Whoa, chunky boy. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
big.
real happy about this one from EcoFlow. Has not melted or burned anything down yet. So we'll find out. Like, I mean, let's be honest. This charging stuff, by far the highest recall rate. Not this particular brand. I'm just saying.
there's been a lot of recalls.
We'll see how it goes. But the thing you just were talking about, you have one of these from Anchor, right?
I have a
It's got
1.4. Oh yeah,
this
I
one-
have the Anchor Prime.
This one has a face on it. It makes like little face things at you. It's kind of cool.
winked at me.
Yeah, it's awesome. But it's at 99% right now. This, I don't know what the thing is with the screens. Apparently charging stuff should have screens, but it is kind of cool that if you plug in, let me see if I can make it do this real quick. If I plug it into something, but like, so it has a retractable cord, which is kind of nice.
That is
right?
nice. The Anchor
And
one does not.
You can use it to charge with it, or you can use it to charge other devices, but it will tell you, hold on, what it is charging at. Now it's not going to charge very much because it's at 99%, but like it'll tell you like how many watts it's drawing to charge up, what percentage it's at, and how long it'll take you to do it. And since it has 4 ports, each one of those ports has its own. So you can see like I've plugged it in and my iPad is drawing 20 watts. I've plugged it in and my Mac is drawing whatever. I think it's kind of cool. I don't, you can also like load pictures onto the base or something like that. And it'll show you pictures and stuff.
It's a digital picture frame.
But
too.
the bottom half of what you were showing is a 5-port desk stand that you can charge other things in. And then you set this thing on top of it. And
then
it charges
it charges
magnetically.
wirelessly.
Yeah. And
That's wild.
yeah, it is insane. This is huge. I am going on a trip soon, so I'm going to take this. We'll see. Like, because in the past, I had just been traveling with, I think it's an Anchor battery, like the long, brick things that was 20,000 milliamp hours or whatever. This one is 27,000.
Right. Yep.
And it'll put out 300 watts. 300 watts, Steven. 300 watts.
That is nuts. I mean, that is exciting. The one from Anchor that I have, so I have 2 from Anchor. One is like this tower style, and it has the retractable cable, but it doesn't charge wirelessly on a base.
Okay.
I have the one that charges wirelessly on a base. That's the Anchor Prime series, but that doesn't have a built-in retractable cable. So this is like the best of both worlds in a single device. Retractable cable. It winks at you. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So this is what I'm replacing, was one of these, basically just simple things that had ports
That's
on
the
the
old
top.
school.
But I mean, this thing still worked. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
And I bought this one. I used to have a Mophie version of this.
Yeah.
And the third time that one died, I stopped bothering with the warranty replacement. It's like, you know what? This is a bad product. So I bought the Anchor one. This one has never died. It's great.
Right.
It does have the little indicator on the button that tells you how charged it is. That's great. But it doesn't wink at me. This guy, it'll wink at me. I can take this on a trip and it's like I have my own. Oh, you know what? This is probably the thing that OpenAI and Johnny Ive are building, is a little companion.
A power bank with
AI
a
built in that'll
microphone.
talk to you.
If I could talk to you,
if I could talk to this all the time
you would talk to that.
and power my devices. I mean, they said it's going to be on your desk. The third thing on your desk
That is
charges
true.
all the other things. That's definitely not what they're building.
What if it said "Happy Birthday" to you today?
It did not. There were no balloons on this thing. I'm super disappointed.
I want that base though. That base that has like, would you say 300 watt output?
The
that.
base has got to be more than 300. Well, maybe
I don't even have a
it is.
MacBook Pro anymore, but I just want it.
Well, the nice
MacBook-
thing is you can plug in 4 different things and it'll show you what wattage you're
Right.
getting at all those different things, which is kind of cool.
That is nice. I've had this Gittron thing. I don't know if I talked about it on the show. I did a little short video on it. But the Gittron retractable cable little charger box, and they sent it to me. But I like it because now I don't have to like ever think about pulling out a USB-C cable. It actually has 4 retractable USB-C cables just like there all the time.
Yeah.
Plus it has USB-C ports if you need to charge 8 total devices. But each cable is only 40 watt output. So this would not be enough to charge like a MacBook Pro under heavy usage.
Yeah, I mean, it would be enough to charge your MacBook Pro, just not while you're transcribing an hour-long video.
Exactly. But, it's nice just to have the cables there all the time and they retract back. So I'm all for this retractable cable future. I think this is where I want to be.
Yeah, the only downside to a retractable cable is it's kind of like an iMac. iMac is great. The screen's beautiful. But what happens when you don't need the computer anymore? You just got a really nice screen that doesn't work. The retractable cable is just one more point of failure. But it doesn't take anything away because like this one still has 3 and you can charge at the top. So
In or out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. That's why I still have my 21.5-inch 4K Retina iMac in a closet that I don't know what to do with. I guess recycle? Bring it to Apple to recycle? I don't know. I don't even want to turn it on because then it's going to try to connect to my iCloud account and it might screw things up. I think I just want to, I don't know. I don't want to throw it in a fire. I don't even know if it would die.
Buried in the backyard.
I'd have to do like Terminator. Just throw it into lava. Whatever that, you just have it slowly melt down and be done with
Careful, it might turn into Darth Vader if you do that.
Oh, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring. Anyway, all right. I want. This is gonna sound funny, but I want to talk about Cracker Barrel. And so we're gonna go to a bonus episode for Jason's birthday bonus episode. We're gonna go talk about Cracker Barrel. And so if you want to listen to that bonus episode, if you want to hear our pre-show and get an unedited feed, we have more and more listeners enjoying that feed, and we have more and more pre-show now. I think we had 20 minutes of pre-show. So if you want everything all together pre-show, you want the unedited feed, you want the bonus episodes, the Primary Tech Daily Show, new episode every day with the top headlines. You can support the show directly in Apple Podcast, $5 a month, $50 a year, or you can go to join.primarytech.fm. You can support us through Memberful there. Lots of people support us that way. Thank you to everyone who's doing that. We'd love to hear from you. Check out that link. You can send us an audio message or a written message. What are you hoping to see at the iPhone 17 event? And I do want to hear if you travel internationally into the U.S. and you've ever experienced that whole TSA security, unlock your iPhone thing. Would really be curious to hear from those as well. You can also leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Get a shout out at the top of the show. And as always, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Wish Jason a happy birthday. And we'll see you next time.